Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. It's now time for your sustainability update with my friend Phil Groupie. Phil, how you doing today?
Great. Happy not Groundhog Day anymore. I don't know what happened yesterday, but something.
He didn't even say he was going to talk about groundhogs, but now I'm intrigued. So there might be a podcast coming on not just groundhogs and you, but we're going to talk about a couple different things. First off, the annual Spring Recycling Day event is coming up really fast. We want to make sure that we get that on everybody's calendar. We've got a conservation fair, bilingual conservation fair, coming to City of Fitchburg. We'll have info on that. Native plants is going to be our third topic. So we got a lot to get to.
There's a ton to cover.
The Spring Recycling Day event is coming up on Saturday, April 11th, 2026, from 8 to 11 a.m. here at the City Hall campus, 5520 Lacey Road. What do we do at our Spring Recycling Day event?
So we collect two different types of materials. One is there's a paper shredding event, so confidential papers. If you've got bills, credit card statements, anything else that is confidential needs to be shredded instead of just thrown into recycling. You can bring up to 2 kind of paper grocery bags of confidential paper. We also work with Resource Solutions that does electronics recycling. So you can come and recycle a number of electronics from things as small as like calculators and small like bathroom or kitchen appliances up to TVs and dehumidifiers and the like. Smaller and simpler items are free to recycle. Larger items, there is a fee, and we post information about that on our website. But collecting electronics to, 1, keep them out of the landfill, and 2, make use of a little bit more of recycling instead of always bringing new resources to make these materials. So the recycling is a really big deal for a lot of these electronics.
And it's a pretty popular event. So, I mean, if you're going to come out, you start gathering your stuff now.
That's right.
This is what I'm doing. I have now dedicated a space in my garage for e-recycling. Nice. So I'm ready in the spring to, recycle.
To e-recycle. Great.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, but all the way from 8 to 11, generally there's a little bit of a crowd early on. Some people kind of trying to beat the rush, but it kind of comes and goes in waves. So I wouldn't try to time anything necessarily. Just show up when works for you in that 3-hour stretch, and we'll get you taken care of.
All right, fantastic. We have a bilingual conservation fair coming to the City of Fitchburg. Tell us what's going on, Phil.
Really excited about this. So the Wisconsin Eco-Latinos local organization, they've been doing this bilingual conservation fair for the past few years. Last year they held it at Elver Park in Madison. This year they reached out to us in Fitchburg and said they wanted to hold it here. Just conveniently, we just opened up our new, formerly referred to as the hub on Traceway Drive, Hostahoche or Hostahoche.
We're working on
Got to learn the exact pronunciation of that. But the new community center on Traceway Drive, I believe 2220 Traceway Drive is at the address. There will be a bilingual conservation there on a Saturday, April 18th from noon to 4 p.m. So this is going to cover a range of things. So we'll talk about environmental conservation and sustainability. We'll have a couple of tables there for some city staff to talk about some things related to conservation and kind of environmental stewardship and sustainability. But also there will be a number of other partners that Eco-Latinos have worked with in the past, just bringing different information and booths and displays on things. There will be music, there will be food, there will be free tree saplings, raffles for various items. Really fun event. Super excited that we're hosting it in Fitchburg. So get it on your calendars now. There will be more information coming out about that soon.
Fantastic. Well, I'll ask you the next time you come here. We'll talk about all the way up until it's there.
Great.
Great.
I can't wait because I'll know more then too. I'm just scratching the surface. I'm excited to learn more about this and keep planning it.
All right. Speaking of planting, I don't know if that's a good transition, but I'm going to go with it anyway. It is time to start thinking about the planting season, and one of your goals this year, among many, is to talk more about native plants. And we've actually had some pretty cool discussions about native plants. And what would you start thinking about, Phil, right now, as it's been ridiculously cold outside?
Right, yeah. So every year we come into April and May, spring is coming along, we talk about Lomo May and the benefits for invertebrates that are emerging out of the ground. We talk about benefits for pollinators early in the season. But there's a massive difference when you're talking about things like native bees and butterflies and the like coming up and finding a bunch of clover and dandelions that aren't native to the area versus other flowers that are, some other early spring ephemerals and some of those native wildflowers that they're kind of adapted to historically, just something that they favor. So we have spent a lot of effort on Low Mow, Maine. We kind of try to get information in there about native plantings. Really, this year I want to focus a lot more on talking about those native plantings specifically. And as you mentioned, preparing for those in advance, the natural cycle for native plants is they'll drop their seeds very often in the fall. Those seeds overwinter under ice and frost, frozen earth. And then in the spring, after they've done kind of that cold stratification is the term for it, it kind of preps the seeds then for the warmth and moisture of the spring and summer, and then they'll start to bloom. So if you are thinking about native plantings, now you can get seedlings that have already been planted by somebody else, and that's a great way to go. You can also plant seeds yourself, but then you kind of need to do it a little bit early so you can go through that cold stratification. You kind of plant it, leave it outside in frosty weather to kind of help those seeds prep for sprouting. If you want to just purchase the plants, what you can do is you can go to Dane County has a native plant sale. UW Arboretum has a native plant sale. Both of those are going on right now. So the Arboretum has an online plant sale from January 1 to March 31. So if you go to arboretum.wisc.edu, they've got information about their Friends of the Arboretum native plant sale. Dane County's Land and Water Resources Department, their Ripple Effects program also has a Plant Dane native plants program, and that just opened up on February 1st. They'll accept orders through March 17. So if you go to, it's ripple-effects.com /plant-dane. Check out
the news
Plant
is he said
Dane.
that you saw that graphic as I did,
Get you
and
the link.
it's all good.
It's the Plant Dane native plant sale. So there you can pick specific species and you can plant those. There are some really good guides online from Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center in Texas. That's wildflower.org. They've got some great by state recommended species lists. UW Arboretum has a native plant list. You can find plant guides that even talk about different wildflowers that grow well together. They complement each other because, maybe you have something really tall like a blazing star, it'll topple over. So what are some other things you can put around it that complement it in terms of what they offer to pollinators, season-long interest and food availability, but also that structural support. So some really cool guides. There's a wealth of information. Couldn't possibly cover it all. But yeah, that's another option is instead of doing the whole seed thing, if you don't have the time or space, just go buy some plants.
And they'll show up in time for spring. So you're like, well, what
They
am I
do.
going to do with plants now?
They usually show up by mid-May, I believe. I don't know the exact dates this year. Check it out when you order them. But I think sometime around early to mid-May is usually when you'd pick up those plants.
If you were just getting started, so if you're like, you know what, Phil, I like this suggestion and I want to start somewhere,
Yeah.
how would you, besides, picking up the plants and doing
Sure,
it, but if
sure.
you were just like, do you want to consider like what's around the house in your neighborhood?
Oh,
Like,
there's so much depth you could go into. And you could think. Really,
you could
think
right,
about.
right.
You could think about how much sun do I get? Which direction does it face? What kind of tree shading is there? What sort of soil do I have? Is my land sloped or is it flat and it's going to hold on to more water? Is it sandy or clay heavy soil? If you don't want to think about all that stuff, there are a few really easy plants. I'm not the expert. I would look this up.
Sure.
But I know that things like echinacea, coneflower, black-eyed Susan, these are really popular. They're really hardy plants. They attract birds in the fall once you've got seeds. This last fall I had finches landing on my coneflower and eating the seeds, which was really cool to see. But also during the summer and fall, you get bumblebees and wasps and honeybees that love that. So there are some of those flowers. Things like butterfly weed or swamp milkweed are also relatively easy to grow. So there are a few of those species. If you don't really want to dive into all the research, find a few of the super easy, super available species and just plant them. They tend to grow really well. They don't take a lot of effort. You might need to protect them from rabbits is probably the biggest effort thing. Put a little rabbit fence around them. That's not going to, of course, stop insects from getting in there.
I was going to say,
but that's-
keep out one predator, but you want to get your other
honestly,
stuff in there.
your starter kit is just picking 4 or 5 species, maybe even 1 or 2, and go find them. Whether it's at the Dane County Farmers Market, there are usually booths that are selling native wildflowers, especially in the spring and early summer, or through these online plant sales, and just pick a few and go plant them and see how it goes.
That's what I said. I think like thinking that now, like putting that plan together now of just, again, I'm thinking for myself, actually asking Phil here, like how to, if I'm just going to pick a spot, like, all right, I've got this sunny spot, there's a stone there, like, could I do something? So.
And then if you get more in depth, it goes beyond wildflowers. You start getting into native shrubs, native trees. Maybe you want to plant something like a serviceberry that's going to grow more 6 to 15 feet tall, and you get a little bit of depth. Maybe you can plant some more shrubs like a 9-bark, and that's got a little bit more native kind of shelter and cover, not so much the pollinator interest. But yeah, there are a variety of different things you can do for just for things that look really nice together. You can get into landscaping and talk with landscaping experts. It goes so deep, and this is why there are certifications like being a master gardener. I'm very far from that, let the record show.
We're working on that.
I've spent a lot of time at nurseries looking at all the plants and thinking this would be nice.
Well, I think we all do, and I think you're just thinking like, well, what really will last, or what really will. But the good news is we're just starting the conversation, and we'll be focusing on this here for the next couple of months as part of your sustainability plan, but ultimately just helping, build some confidence and bring in some of those.
Build some confidence and bring back, it's very well understood when you develop land for houses, for businesses, whatever the case may be, you are losing green space, you're losing native habitat, and doing all this native planting is one way to restore some of that and try to make a few more connections where we really have partitioned natural areas. And this is a relatively easy thing that a lot of homeowners can do to try and restore some of that food source, shelter, just bring some of that green back that was gone. And for the most part, maybe you got a backyard that you want to play soccer, football, whatever. Great, I do too. I'm also planting a bunch of things around the perimeter, trying to
That's the
bring
thing,
back.
Right? Like you can figure out your space a little bit, but I'd start adding. And I think less mowing, that just equal. Just those little things that would add up into better benefits for your time to enjoy the recreation and some native plants. All right, Phil. If people want to learn more, get signed up for your newsletter, of course. But check out the website as well.
Yeah, check out Green Fitchburg on the city's website, fitchburgwi.gov, and sign up for the Green e-newsletter through, I believe the title is Green Fitchburg Notify Me list.
Fantastic. Appreciate the time as always, Phil.
Yeah, happy February.